All right, welcome back to another edition of Wrestling in the Basement. And I think this is our third episode of Wrestling in the Basement. Sorry, we've been off for a little bit of a hiatus. Your boy is a little under the weather, even still. I was debating on even doing this video, but after the pay-per-view we just watched, we felt a little bit compelled to do a video this evening. So we're here, and we're going to try to get through this, and I'll do the best that I can. So Money in the Bank 2016 literally just ended, 15 minutes ago, not even. Mm-hmm. Great pay-per-view, a lot of great matches. I'm definitely going to say it didn't disappoint. A lot of hype for this, a lot of hype with all the different matches, the AJ Styles, the main event, the ladder match.
WrestleMania quality is whatever they kept saying.
WrestleMania quality matches at Money in the Bank, which a lot of them I think were WrestleMania matches planned for last year before some of the injuries took place. So let's start off with the pre-show. We had a couple matches in the pre-show that were both kind of stinkers. We got Breeze Dango versus Golden Truth, which pretty done with that feud. I like the Breeze Dango thing if they do more with it, but it's being wasted with Golden Truth.
Which is true, but I think even this match, like the fact that it's
the sunburnt aspect,
like,
which was funny.
I mean, yeah, it's Golden Truth, but if you take Golden Truth out and just imagine them as jobbers,
right?
It kind of, I like it.
It worked. I mean? It worked. But so Golden Truth ended up winning that match because Breeze Dango was sunburned with like scabs that were redder than their sunburn. Whatever. Then we got Dudley Boys versus Lucha Dragons. Lucha Dragons pull out the W. Again, kind of a snoozer.
Yeah, that one wasn't. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't a bad match. It just wasn't great.
Yeah, it wasn't great. So then we start the main show. First match of the evening is the Fatal 4-Way for the tag team belts. So you got New Day versus Vaudevillains versus Enzo and Big Cass versus Gallows and Anderson. Really thought Gallows and Anderson were going to pull this one out just to put them on put the straps on heels. New Day ends up retaining. I don't hate the move, but they're going to have to lose the belts at some point.
Yeah.
They're going to.
I wonder if they're just trying to hold them out to get that, because they mentioned the record for the time. I wonder if they're just going to hold them for that.
Which would be like the next pay-per-view or maybe even one after that, which is going to be SummerSlam. So I would foresee them losing them by SummerSlam at the absolute
Battleground
latest.
Seems like a dumb place to have them lose it.
No, I don't see much changing at Battleground. You know what I mean? That's just kind of a bridge to SummerSlams.
I think
it's
SummerSlam
a setup
would
pay-per-view.
be a better place to have them lose it.
But that was a good match. It was a solid match. A lot of good highlights in that match. Enzo and Cass.
SummerSlam's when they won it.
SummerSlam is when they won it. So that would make sense a year later have them lose it. Then we had probably one of the matches I'm most tired with, which is Corbin versus Ziggler. This wasn't even a bad match. I'm just tired of the matchup. Like, I'm tired of the feud. This was actually probably one of the better matches they've had for this feud, but it still was kind of just like, I've seen this, 3, 4, 5 times. It's been pre-show matches. I don't know, nothing really there. Who won? Corbin won, right? Yeah. Corbin won again. I think he's won almost every time except for when Ziggler hit him with the low blow. This has to end. Put Corbin onto something else, or else he's just going to get, washed out. He is. It's not going to further him in any way, shape, or form. Then what do we have? Then we have Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Natalya and Becky Lynch. Again, I don't know what they're doing with the women's division, but it doesn't seem like anything.
Yeah.
And then having Natalya turn on Becky Lynch at the end was kind of weird. Like, what are you going to have? Natalya heel turn, then it's going to be Natalya, Charlotte, and Dana Brooke. I just don't know what they're doing. Hopefully Sasha Banks is going to be back in the mix here soon. In the preview for Battleground, they did have her in it with her flag, so hopefully the legit boss is going to make an appearance on Raw here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I know she was dealing with a concussion, but she's back. I've seen her at live shows, so I think it's only a matter of time, but they got to freshen up the women's division. They really do. They need to freshen it up.
See, I wouldn't even care if, they had Becky Lynch doing something.
Yeah.
But she just sort of comes in, talks trash, loses.
Yeah.
By, cheesy doodle ways. And it's like, you can only have that for so long before you just get sick of it.
Yeah, she can be much more impressive. They got to stop teaming her with Paige and Natalya and having her be the sidekick and either let her be her own or move in a different direction.
Seemed way more about her than anyone else in that women's match.
They are, because they want fresh. I mean, bring up Bailey. Like, we're kind of done with the old divas until, I don't know, maybe they're waiting for Nikki to come back, Nikki Bella to come back. Who knows what the hell they're doing, but they got to freshen that up, because again, it was just underwhelming.
Yeah.
Then we kind of hit the main part of the thing. So Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. This was a much better match than I thought it was going to be. I had mediocre expectations for it, and it surpassed definitely the expectation level I had for it, and I think even went above what I think most people thought was going to happen. Cruz is a talent. Like having him win versus Sheamus was a good idea. He looked tough. Sheamus looked tough.
For sure.
It was a good match. Like solid. And
I think they need to do
match.
this more with the new talent, is have them win in ways that make both sides look tough.
Right.
Because at least, and we're going to go back to the women's, but with the women's, it just doesn't, they don't, I never feel like we walk out everybody looking tough. It walks out one person looking weak and one person cheating.
Almost everybody looking weak. You know what I mean? No. And I think what they did with Corbin, what they did with Apollo as having the younger guys win over the older vets made a lot of sense. The New Day retaining over, 3 pretty much new tag teams still makes sense. Actually, I think one of those tag teams will win at some point.
I honestly think it's going to be Enzo and Cass.
Really?
Because, putting over a heel would be a good idea, but the only team that's got as much popularity as New Day right now is Enzo and Cass. And they keep showing those two tag teams being, like, fair to each other, so they're going to have a clean victory over the New Day at some point. They're going to make it clean because the New Day, respect
I'd like to see that. But, Apollo Crews and Sheamus, good match, better than anticipated. Then we got Cena, AJ Styles. This was super hyped. And it lived up to the hype. Let's be real. I mean, AJ Styles dominated most of that match.
For sure.
The ending, I think they could have written a little bit better. They could have did the ending a little bit differently, because the ending did make AJ look a little weak.
Yeah.
Slightly. But
at the same time, Cena looked weak the whole match compared to AJ.
But it furthers this feud. This feud doesn't end here because of how it ended. I mean, you have AJ win clean in the middle of the ring, and it kind of like, what else is there to go off of? You have the club come out, even though they weren't supposed to be there, hit Cena with their finisher. AJ wins because of that. I liked seeing AJ win over Cena. I understand why you bring the club out.
Yeah.
You further the feud. I'm cool with it, because this feud's going to go probably until SummerSlam. I would guess. Oh, yeah. 2 more matches between the two of them. But this was a quality match. Like, maybe not as, I think, like I said, it lived up to the hype.
I'd really like them to drop the club angle, though, because that's the one thing I don't like about the feuds AJ Styles has had, is they make him look weak because of the club. So it'd be nice if John Cena comes out and says, you didn't try to cheat. They came out of nowhere and won for you. Respect, whatever, but we got to keep doing this for real. I want a real match. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I see eventually like a Hell in a Cell or a steel cage, some stipulation that's going to take everybody out of it and make it just them, so you do have that who's the better man. Because you'd assume Cena's probably going to win next, have it best of 3, and then whoever wins, the last one. Right. Because that's the only way I see it going down. Then we got the Money in the Bank ladder match. So there's no 7th member, which they said there were going to be 7 people. Then they moved it to 6. Tried to forget that they said 7 people, because there's pictures of them with a 7th person. Yeah. I showed you one earlier. So they forgo that because everyone thought it was going to be a surprise. Bray Wyatt or Orton or Finn Balor. It was none of those people. It was just the 6 people that we got. Owens, Zayn, Cesaro, Jericho, Ambrose, and Del Rio. Ambrose ends up winning. Couldn't have been happier. He's been so close the last couple of years. He deserved it. He deserved the win. It was kind of you kind of see it coming type thing, but I was still happy with the outcome.
Honestly, it's hard to say. Because it's hard to say you see it coming. Yeah, he was the favorite.
Well, he was the favorite to win.
But at the same time, you have Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. You have a lot of good players up there.
Yeah, but the Zayn Owens thing, they need to they have never finished their feud. Like, honestly, their feud's been wrapped into these these conglomerate
I like that,
matches.
though.
I do too,
It
but
keeps it from getting boring.
eventually they're going to have a one-on-one to kind of end things. And now, Ambrose Jericho thing's definitely done.
Yeah, thank God.
We'll get to that in a little bit here. So Ambrose wins. Great moment for Ambrose. Super pumped for that. Then we got Rusev and Titus O'Neil, which I thought was weird that this match fell here, but it made sense once we talk about the main event.
It was late.
It was a late match. It was already like 9:35 when it started. Went to like 9:45. They gave him like 10 minutes. Rusev looked dominant. Titus's kids were there. They tried to play up that. He beat him.
Did you
told
see
the kids
he
his
kissed one of
dad's
his kids
on
like,
the lips? I saw that. That was kind of weird too. And it was like a teenage. It was a little weird.
I was like, wait, what?
But so then after Rusev wins, he said something about like Happy Father's Day. After he said like
so
how much his
funny.
dad sucks, he said he like Happy Father's Day in the
was
Rusev
so
voice.
funny.
It worked. This has been working.
I also really like. There was a couple good zingers in this pay-per-view when frickin' Kevin Owens says, "Look, it's Alberto Del Rio."
Oh, yes.
most likely to speak Spanish. I just lost it.
There was some great behind backstage stuff, like little mini promos that happened during the pay per view. So those were well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
The Rusev thing works, but they got to get him a better opponent. I like Titus O'Neil, but he's
well, and he looks tough, so I think it helps build because after Cena ruins Rusev's freaking credibility, you kind of have to
rebuild him. Yeah.
And Titus O'Neil's a great option to rebuild him because Titus O'Neil looks
He is,
freaking
but
huge.
I want to see Rusev versus Apollo Crews. That's the matchup I want eventually. Rusev and Apollo Crews. I think.
Well, and they're setting both of them up.
Those two would be great matches, I think, between the two of them. So then let's get into it. Main event: Rollins versus Reigns. They're booing Rollins. I mean Reigns hard.
Oh God,
cheering Rollins, booing Reigns. So we knew that was happening.
Literally, Rollins' music stops and they start warming up their booing
before Reigns' music even hits. I'm gonna screw this up a bunch of times. But yeah,
Reigns, Rollins.
Reigns Rollins. So then the beginning of the match is pretty much just Reigns working Rollins.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Almost to the point where you think this is just going to be like the ring rust. But they played it up good. Rollins comes back, lands. I mean, this was a 30, 40-minute match.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't, at parts it felt like it, at parts it didn't feel like it. You know what I mean? There were some great moments in the match. Rollins looks like Rollins. He was doing everything that he does.
I think the beginning, the warming up took too long for me. Because they kept saying, look, he just needed to do that to get a spring in his step. And then Roman Reigns starts beating the shit out of him. And then it's like, oh, he just needed to do that to get a spring in his step. And then he starts losing again. And it's like, they do that for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
easy,
the warm-up was too long.
Yeah.
You know, just to get him back, like, acclimated to it or whatever. But it was a really good match. They were cheering, this is awesome at one point. Crowd really got behind it, which I liked, that they didn't just boo just because.
Right.
I mean, you did get some "this is boring" chants during Corbin Ziggler, so the crowd wasn't all loving everything. Tonight.
they were rowdy. Yeah, that was a rowdy crowd.
Well, Vegas, they're going to be a rowdy crowd. It's Vegas, so match goes on. Looks like Rollins is going to win. Looks like Reigns is going to win. Keeps going back and forth. Superman punch, pedigree, spear into a pedigree. Then we got some pretty good counters and moves, finishing moves.
They never destroyed a table.
No table ever got destroyed. Not the Spanish announcers, not the European announcers.
Not even during the ladder match.
No tables got destroyed in this pay-per-view, which is kind of weird, especially with a ladder match. You would assume one was going to get destroyed at some point.
They even prepped a table.
They did,
and then
nothing happened. Yeah. And then nothing happened. So whatever. Inevitably, Rollins ends up pinning Reigns for the victory. Crowd's going.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
I don't want to interrupt. But they even mentioned during the Dudley's match, the crowd starts chanting tables.
Yep, we want tables. Yeah.
And there was no tables at all, but there was a lot of stuff that made you think tables
they're going to break a table. Yeah. They're just setting you up.
What's going on there?
The table budget is over for the year. They're at they're through.
The guy who was supposed to buy the tables was
they're
okay.
Through two quarters. Their table budget's high, so they're going to cut back on breaking them down
here in Vegas. And if I win, we get double the tables. If I lose, we don't use any tables this time.
He lost, and there were no tables broken. So
damn you, Vegas.
Rollins ends up getting the pinfall victory in the middle of the ring. Hits another hit his third pedigree, second or third pedigree. Everyone was super happy. The crowd went nuts, and then you give it like maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and Ambrose music hits, and the crowd loses their minds. Ambrose comes down. I didn't think he was really going to cash in. I thought it was going to be one of those fake cash-ins, But he cashes it in. He hands the thing to Lillian Garcia, says cashing it in. They ring the bell. He hits the dirty deeds. 1, 2, 3. Ambrose is now your champion. So actually, they told you how this night was going to play out on Raw last week. Ambrose said in the middle of the ring last Monday night, he said, "What if I win Money in the Bank? Come in and cash in on whoever wins, blah, 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 blah." I can't believe they actually said it and then did it, because everybody wanted it to happen. Nobody thought it was going to happen, and then they actually did it. So that's what forced me to actually suck it up and do this video. Realistically, because I was almost at the end of that night, if it would have ended with Rollins wins, no cash in, we don't do a video tonight. Straight up. I'm going to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
100% honest. Rollins wins, no cash in. We have a smoke, you go home, I go to bed because I feel like shit, and I'm going to try to work tomorrow for the first time in a week. Because, like I said, your boy's been under the weather. No episode 60, no Gamer Corner, no E3 coverage. Sorry, guys. I've really been ill. Anyone who knows me knows I've been going through some stuff. So, I appreciate you guys, tuning in for what we have been putting out, even though it hasn't been much. Promise we'll get back to the nerdy goodness that you know us for. I promise it's all coming back. It's just give me a little bit of time to get through this shit. So, all in all, great pay-per-view.
For sure.
I give it an A-. Not perfect.
Yeah, I would agree.
Solid A-.
Especially for where it's positioned. Yeah, it's Money in the Bank,
Yep.
But considering it's not WrestleMania.
Well, you're 2 from SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So they could have definitely held out some of this stuff till SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. But they hyped this one big. They didn't disappoint. And Ambrose is your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So I couldn't be happier. Right?
Wow. I wanted Seth Rollins to keep it, but
We'll see what happens next.
The fact that he cashed it in.
Triple threat Shield match. Definitely. I'm calling that now. But what are you saying?
I was just... Since he cashed it in, I wanted Rollins to win, but he cashed it in, so
I like how Rollins actually lost it on the same way that he won it. You know what I mean? That's a good little.
And that's what I was saying.
Turn the knife for Ambrose.
You accomplish 2 things here. Number 1, you have Rollins lose it.
Yeah.
The same way he won it. Number 2, you cash in Money in the Bank really early this time, since. Not last time, but the time before was the longest, you know what I mean?
It was a really long wait till WrestleMania, yeah.
So now you can slowly build up to longer and longer waits instead of it feeling like everyone's waiting forever.
Right.
You cash in early a couple times.
Well, I think it's been a long time since they've had a cash in the same night someone's won. I'm not for sure how long it's been, but I want to say it's been a few years, because since I've been watching, which has been a few years again now since my return to wrestling. I don't remember any going through this. Although on a bright side, since I've been home for a week with this illness, I have watched about 4 months worth of WWF from 1998 Raws and pay-per-views. And I slept through about 60 to 70% of everything I've watched, but I saw the main goodness. I saw King of the Ring 1998. Mm-hmm. I saw SummerSlam 1998, some great matches. I'm telling you guys, if you don't have the WWE Network, get it. It's worth it, especially for. The pay-per-views are worth it alone. Not to mention everything else. There's a ton of content on there. Definitely get it if you don't. It's $10 a month, same as your Netflix or your Hulu. And it's I spend as much time watching that as I probably do anything else. Now I'm a bigger wrestling fan than most, so take that with what you will, but get it. So with that being said, we'll be back. We got shit coming. We're not gone. We're just dealing with some things. So till I get better, until the next time we shoot something, deuces.